Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Nubian Journeys. We are so happy you could join us today. We want to say a big up to Lion Pride Music family for allowing us to use their music once again. Thank you so much, everyone, for taking the time to join us on this journey again. Today, we are looking at a new country in the Caribbean. So we are zooming in to Antigua and Barbuda, which is a constitutional monarchy. If you're looking at the screen, you will see them in what I would call mustard yellow. And what we want to learn today is quite a bit. So I'm going to try to go a little faster, but hopefully you'll come back to this video time and time again and you'll listen again and you'll learn something new. So the monarchies is constitutional monarchy in Antigua, and we talked about that in the first couple videos, which basically means that the monarchy is limited there, and so they are a democratic monarchy. It's a form of monarchy in which the monarchy exercises their authority in accordance with the constitution of that country. So you will see that listed on a few different Caribbean islands. So the motto of Antigua and Barbuda is each enduring, all achieving. So what do I want you to know today? So Antigua and Barbuda has a total area of 440 kilometers square, making it one of the smallest Caribbean countries. But the interesting thing about Antigua and Barbuda is that there are actually 54 islands or so that make up Antigua and Barbuda. Now, I didn't know that before I started doing my own research. So 54 little islands. So if you look on the screen right now, you will notice that, for example, on the one that says Antigua, you will notice Long Island, then Guyana Island, sorry, Crump Island. So there's all these little islands that make up Antigua and Barbuda. So you see Kid Island, Rabbit Island over on the side that says Barbuda. I am learning all of this along with you. So this is all very interesting to me. So there you go. So administrative division, so Antigua has 6 parishes and then it has 2 dependencies, including Barbuda and Redonda. So if you look on the map, I think you see those listed out here. And so it's 6 parishes. So St. John is the most populous, meaning the most people live there. I think it says almost half of Antiguans live um, in St. John. And Barbuda has 8 districts. Those are not listed on the screen, but it has 8 districts. And so this is how the division is for Antigua and Barbuda. So Antigua and Barbuda, this number here is a little bit out of whack. The numbers there should be a little different. That slide was a little messy. We'll go back to that afterwards. So about Antigua and Barbuda. It is located about 1,000 miles east of Jamaica. Of course, big up Jamaica because you know I'm from Jamaica, but I always try to think of where the people are located in reference to Jamaica. So the highest point in Antigua is 1,319 feet, as you can see there. And you can see that, of course, Antigua is about 108 square miles, while Barbuda is about 62 square miles. And there's only about 28 miles that separate Antigua from Barbuda. So if you go to Antigua or Barbuda, it's not that far to get to the other islands. So feel free to go visit in all the islands, really. All right. So I see here that there is, if you're looking for coral reef, there's a lot of it, especially in Barbuda. And they have tons of beautiful beaches and lagoons and also wildlife. So if you're looking for that and you're looking to travel, feel free, go and let me know. Drop a picture under this video and let me know what it was like. Continuing on with the history, Antigua and Barbuda was colonized mainly for sugar production. So I'll give you a little background. Hunter and gatherers settled on the island supposedly around 3000 BC and likely arrived from South America. They were followed by the Arawaks, and there's also the Caribs that are in there also. And once again, I will say that Christopher Columbus did not arrive on the island until about 1493, or surveyed the island in this case. He did not discover it because, of course, there were already people living there, the indigenous peoples. And so he attempted to settle Antigua in about 1520 for the Spanish, but that did not go well. And so Antigua remained uncolonized until about 1632, when Edward Warner and his party successfully settled Antigua for the British. And so that was in 1632. They were, however, under attack from the Caribs, the French, the English, and the Dutch. So there were wars in between there. As I said before in one of the other recordings, there is always a tug of war back and forth. And then eventually the British were the ones who settled it and colonized it. The early settlers there had tobacco, indigo, cotton, and ginger, mainly for exporting. And so you will notice that I said sugar at the top. Sugar later on became the prominent export, hence the reason why enslaved Africans were brought into Antigua and Barbuda. Also keep in mind that Barbuda was under the control of one family mainly until about the 1860s. Their name is Codrington, Codrington. In 1674, large-scale sugar plantations was established by the Codrington, which I just mentioned, and there was over 150, count again, 150 sugar mills that were created there for creating sugar. In 1728, there was a minor slave uprising, and then also again in 1736, where there was a major rebellion that was uncovered. All of those were punished and some were brutally executed. And so keep that in mind when you look at the history. Antigua and Barbuda, slavery was abolished in 1834, but that did not mean that the slaves were free, because you still had the enslavers who were there and paid very little, if anything, to those who were in those factories. So once slavery was done or abolished in Antigua and Barbuda, like a lot of other countries in the Caribbean, in 1846, Portuguese workers were brought over because there were a shortage of workers. And so just keep in mind that some of the enslaved who were now free went into the West India Army, and so there was a shortage of workers. So they brought some over from paid workers who were brought over from Portugal. And also in the 1900s, there was some more diversity, where there were traders and peddlers who came from Lebanon. So later on, we will look at the ethnic diversity in Antigua and Barbuda, and you'll realize that this accounts for some of that in that area. So of note, in 1938/39, there was the founding of the Antigua Trades and Labor Union, which in that time was a big deal. And even now, as a part of a union, you know that your rights are usually protected. So that was a big thing that happened in 1938-39. So in 1941, some of the US bases were located in Antigua, and that also affected the economy and social life. And then sugar remained a dominant sector of the economy throughout the 1940s and 50s. And then in 1980, most of their factories were decommissioned. And in 1981, Antigua achieved full independence. So you can ignore the in at the end of that. And so that's 1981. Barbuda is mainly a limestone formation and lies about 30 miles, it's really 28 miles north of Antigua. And its highest elevation is 128 feet, as you can see on the screen. It also has some of the most beautiful beaches. So if you're looking for beautiful beaches, now you can't go wrong anywhere in the Caribbean, really, but it has beautiful beaches also. And Barbuda became a part of the new state of Antigua in 1981. So when Antigua received independence, Barbuda also officially became a new state or dependent state of Antigua. And if you're looking for a place without a lot of people, and Barbuda is not that populated, so you can have, a lot of space for yourself, I guess, and it's very quiet. Lots of trees, lots of fishing, and so just keep that in mind for that. If you love to dive, there's a lot of coral reef also there. So scuba diving is one of their things. So make sure you go and scuba dive if you enjoy it. All right. So in case you're thinking of moving to Antigua and Barbuda, it has acquired a reputation of being a little bit lax in and more of a tax haven. I'll talk about that on the next slide. And so if you are looking for that, then this might be the place for you. So the economy, tourism dominates the economy as it does for a lot of Caribbean islands, and it is also known for its extensive collection of five-star resorts. So if you're looking for the best of the best for resorts, there are some there. Antigua and Barbuda has enacted policies to attract high net worth citizens and residents, such as abolishing personal income tax in 2016. So here you go. If you're looking for a place with not as much tax as North America, then you can always go on by. And now we get to fun culture. The music of Antigua and Barbuda, of course, has retained some of its African characteristics, um, and there is a lot of music there. So as early as 1780s, there is documentation of the African laborers dancing outside to something called the tumba, and later it was called tum tum. And then we also have the banjar, which we think is related to the banjo. And then there's the indigenous music, which is known as Bena. Somebody's going to correct me. It might be Bina, but Bena is how I'm saying it today. But tell me in the chat if I said it incorrectly. And so there's a lot of music, lots of culture, but also there's calypso and soca, which is also in um, both countries. So here you go. Here's the flag and coat of arms of Antigua and Barbuda. You will, if you see this anywhere, you know it's a part of Antigua and Barbuda. So the black band in the flag is for the golden sunshine. Then you have the red triangles, which form a V for victory, blue for hope, and black for the African heritage. And so there's a lot of things in there. Look it up. There's a lot of things in the coat of arms. Do a little more research also, but it's beautiful. So some fun facts quickly. Antigua is Spanish for ancient, Barbuda is Spanish for bearded. which I didn't know. The Antigua was originally called Waladli. Somebody's going to tell me the right way to say that, by the Arawaks, and the Caribs possibly called Barbuda Wahomani. I might have said that wrong also. Currently, the population of Antigua and Barbuda is only 105,000. This is in 2025, and it's one of the least populated countries in the Caribbean. So if you're going to visit, go right ahead. I am just going to put this here really quickly, just to let you know religiously, based on religion, most of Antigua and Barbuda are Christians, but here's the breakdown for you. And then ethnic composition. You can see here, of course, mainly black, but you do have Hispanic, white, and mixed race and other listed here. And as I said before, with the importing of enslaved peoples, and then with the Portuguese coming in after slavery was abolished, and also Lebanese coming in, we do have a mixture of cultures, or ethnic composition. Oh, the beautiful beaches. And here's some food for you. The national dish is fungi. I said that incorrectly. And pepper pot. Sounds yummy to me. They do also have something called ducana, seasoned rice, saltfish, and lobster. My mom would love this because she loves lobster. All right. And of course, they have ground provisions, which includes potatoes, yams, sweet potatoes, which we do have in Jamaica also. So we have a lot of things in common. And they have a soup called sus, which has pig's feet. And I know for my North Americans who've never had pig's feet or chicken feet and pig's tails, you might think it's not yummy, but you should try it. And they also have something called black pudding, which is known as black sausage also. It's a seasoned sausage made with rice, meat, and blood that is also enjoyed by the locals in Antigua. Now that one I might not try. I'm sorry everyone from Antigua and Barbuda. That doesn't sound like one I will be trying. And they also have pineapples, which are yummy to me. And so if you're looking for, food, they have lots of things. If you're from other Caribbean islands, they also have, hibiscus, guava, passion fruit, all the things we love to eat. So go visit. And really quickly, famous Antiguans, we have June Ambrose and Sir Curtly Ambrose. And I know Mr. Ambrose because living in Jamaica, we were hooked to the TV for cricket. And so he is known as one of the greatest fast bowlers of all time. And then there's June Ambrose, who's a stylist, costume designer, author, creative director, influencer, and TV host. And she was the basketball creative director for Puma. So maybe you've seen some of her designs, maybe you've worn them. All right, and that's the end of our presentation for Antigua and Barbuda. So now when you look at the map and you see Antigua and Barbuda, you know a little bit more. Thank you everyone for joining us on Nubian Journeys. Have a wonderful day.